A few nights ago, I finished Caste Heaven Volume 7. So I know that Volume 8 has probably been scanned and translated online, but I'm waiting for the official English release coming next year, so please, no spoilers. Now, the thing about Caste Heaven is that it is undeniably messed up. Not only is there a lot of explicit content, it also contains NC/DC, violence, bullying, etc. And yet, I think it's genuinely well written with defined distinctive characters, a diverse range of relationships, and social commentary. Yes, a yaoi with social commentary. Now, I'm not saying this is the next literary masterpiece comparable to Shakespeare or whatever, but I'm saying that despite all of its problematic elements, there's a reason it has fans, and there's a reason that Sublime and a bunch of other publishers chose to publish it. What is Caste Heaven? Caste Heaven is a yaoi manga series written by Chise Ogawa and published by Sublime in English. It first began serialization in 2014 and finished in 2021. Caste Heaven tells the story of a high school that uses a game to determine each student's caste within a class. If you find the king card, you will become king of the class. Whoever finds the joker card is the target, the victim of merciless bullying. Anyone who tells the teachers or refuses to play the game also becomes the target. The beginning of the series introduces us to the main character, Yuya Azusa, who is the king of class 2-1. He's not a kind ruler, he bullies and uses everyone around him. We're also introduced to Kohei Karino, who is a wannabe, which means that he got the card number 9. He seems like a suck-up to Yuya and also has a little crush. At the beginning of the first volume, their class plays a new game, which means that the castes will be reassigned. Azusa doesn't seem worried, but then he's betrayed by Karino, who takes the king for himself and makes Azusa the new target. Now, everyone's out to get revenge on Azusa, but he's determined to regain his position as king. He's also forced to come to a certain agreement with Karino so he won't be assaulted by everyone else. Azusa and Karino totally hate each other. So it's not one of those lukewarm enemies to lovers where they kind of hate each other for some stupid reason. No, they really despise each other, which makes their physical arrangement and physical desire for each other interesting, but it also raises a lot of questions and intrigue for the rest of the series. Will they end up together as a lovey-dovey couple? Because if they do, well, I'm just gonna say right now, it's looking pretty impossible. Sounds psycho. Yes. Yeah. Yes, it is. Thankfully, I read this series after already being kind of used to the world of BL, so I wasn't totally scarred. As I read more, I realized just how well constructed the story is. My defense of Caste Heaven. See, the thing is, there are probably plenty of people who read this series because they enjoyed messed up things. I might even be one of them. I like to be shocked, especially when so many stories can be predictable and basic. But at the same time, I'm not gonna read, and more importantly, enjoy a story that is shocking and immoral just for the sake of it. No, I want something well written. Let's start off with the characters. Azusa. So even though he first comes across as a tyrant, he quickly grew on me. His determination and never-ending persistence to fix his situation is admirable. He's undeniably strong, and his refusal to play other people's games, apart from maybe Karina's, but usually there's no choice, makes him stand out from his classmates. He also has his weak spots though, like his protectiveness over his mother, which makes him sympathetic. Karino. I don't want to talk too much about him because we learn about his past and psychology in later volumes, and I don't want to spoil that. But I will say that I like he isn't a half-hearted villain. He'll say the most depraved stuff, he'll say the cruelest things, and then by some crazy miracle, you'll root for him sometimes. Yeah, it's weird. There are also a bunch of other characters, and every single one of them is flawed or does things that you don't agree with. You could argue that some of these characters are inherently messed up, but for a lot of them, you can say that the caste game made them act this way. And if not the caste game, well, society then. So yes, the characters are flawed, but that's what makes them and their relationships with each other, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's hatred, whether it's friendship, whether it's a family relationship, makes them all feel plausible. All right, now let's move on to the next part. Themes. See, the caste game is a metaphor for society. Okay, duh. You might be thinking, This is the most basic metaphor in the world. My eyes are practically rolling into the back of my head. Well, excuse me, but when was the last time you read a BL with a theme, with metaphors? If you know of any, please comment them down below. I'll be really intrigued to check them out. So yes, this metaphor might sound obvious as hell, but the mangaka brings up good points about society through showcasing different relationships and situations. Not only is there commentary about the caste system, how the people at the top can abuse their power, and how the people at the bottom are helpless, and how a lot of it is based on luck. Whether you were born into wealth, whether you were born beautiful, whether you were born talented or special. But it also explores how people can be suffocated by the caste they're in, when they don't agree with it, when it means they can't have a relationship with someone who is too far below or above them. It depicts people who began at the bottom and suddenly rise to the top. Will they be kind and empathetic to those under them? Or will they exert their power in revenge? What happens if someone decides to ignore the caste system? Is it possible to ignore society's hierarchy and do your own thing? And if you could, would you even want to? At its core, I believe Caste Heaven is a critique of hierarchies. There's only one volume left, and one of my theories is maybe the caste game will be destroyed. Maybe there will be a revolution, but that can only happen if every student bands together and says, screw this, we're not playing anymore. But that's a lot of stuff that would have to happen in only one volume. And let's say, sure, okay, this card game disappears, but that just means that a new system will replace it. One that's more realistic, but a hierarchy nonetheless. The popular kids at the top, the weirdos at the bottom. So yeah, I'm not sure how this story will end. I am interested in how it does though, because I think that nonetheless, it will highlight some interesting ideas about hierarchies in society. Maybe Chiseagawa will just ignore all of that stuff and focus on the BL. Regardless, I'm super excited for the final volume. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I plan to make a follow-up video when the 8th volume comes out because I just think this story is so interesting and I'd love to analyze it in more depth. If you want to see more BL/manga/anime content, check out the rest of my channel. My next video will be a reaction to the latest Jinx chapter when it comes out on the 12th. Okay, bye!